Okay, so the poem I'm going to read today is written by me, and it's called "The Message." And I've shared this one. It's a little bit like it has different riddles in it and different okay, what does that mean? So I thought I would take an opportunity to read it and then go through a few things. It's a very spiritual poem, but it's sort of into the face of those who might be like, no, you are made of this, and that's all you are, and etc. So it's a little bit in the face of the atheist, but there's some things I'd love to comment on afterwards. So I'll go ahead and read it and then come back through. This is called "The Message." Wandering time, wondering who I was, these last millennia blank and dark, and that familiar indignation, self and otherwise, that I should even wonder to cast such a net over time. After all, I was born, I am dying, I will die. I am blood and bone, electrical impulses in a brain. Newton's laws come alive. And even though I have vivid dreams that drown me in grief and fear and love, of places I've never been and never will be again, composed of odd pictures tucked into the etched grooves inside my skull, of the green glow of radiation in a tube, hunting on plains, on beasts not unlike horses, music cascading down upon a crowd like a drug. I'm in no contest with pi, claiming infinity while measuring closed loops. Yet how does one peer around a corner? And why do mathematicians rush to make a proof that I both can and cannot? All the same, the bars draw closed, pulled by my hand or yours, it matters little, and with final briefing whispered words echoing back to me in blackness, you are not. Yet I am. So, that was the message. A quick breakdown of the different lines if you're interested. I go straight in, wandering time, wondering who I was, these last millennia blank and dark. I'm a spiritual being, baby. I've been around a long time. Just because I can't remember, and I can, but just because maybe one couldn't remember doesn't mean they're not. Do you remember what you had for breakfast 2 weeks ago? And that familiar indignation, self and otherwise, that I should even wonder to cast such a net over time. That thing, that feeling like, how dare you? How dare you inspect your past, or that you might have lived long ago? How dare you break these rules? All I hear is people who are spiritually imprisoned saying, don't do that. I'm in too much pain and grief over what I've lost. Don't look. That's all I hear. After all, I was born, I am dying, I will die. I am blood and bone, electrical impulses in a brain, Newton's laws come alive. And these are the considerations. We think of, well, I don't know about we. Many consider themselves a brain. And it's funny, even I watch interviews and shows and different things, and everywhere you hear it, people say, my brain, and then immediately assert that they are the brain, but then they own the brain. And so, like, where are you? They constantly refer to a physical object as themselves, and then refer to it as being outside of themselves, like constantly, nonstop, because we don't actually identify as a brain or a body. We don't actually do that. Like, I don't think anyone does. And it's not just they didn't pay attention to their words. It's that we don't feel that way. and even like, okay, so you buy the invisible and you can't see a spirit or whatever. What's the deal? Who cares? Why is there so much concern that you must not believe in that? You must believe that you are made of dirt. I don't know. It's very strange. And even though, so here on one segment, I'm like, okay, I get it, I was born, I'm dying, I'll die, I am Newton's laws come alive, entropy, and if you get going in a direction, you'll stop at some point, and all of this, these particles, And even though I have vivid dreams that drown me in grief and fear and love of places I've never been and never will be again, composed of odd pictures tucked into the etched grooves inside my skull, of the green glow of radiation in a tube, hunting on plains on beasts not unlike horses, music cascading down upon a crowd like a drug. Like, we have these dreams and we go, oh yeah, that's imagination, and that must be, I took a bunch of things and put them together, and so now I have this new thing. And people, what are dreams anyway? I'm like, you lived before. You've lived before, and it's just sort of coming up again. Yeah, I know, but what are they? No, you see, you've lived before, and that's what it is. It's what it is. That's why you have all those emotions tucked in there. That's why it's like you feel you are there until you wake up, and then you're glad to be where you are. Or you miss being where you were. Yeah, but I wonder what they are. Knock it off. I'm sorry, it just is what it is, right? Yeah, but it's a combination of now and then, and okay, great. The mind can recombine things, etc. But like, it is what it is. I'm sorry. Just accept it. Or don't. I mean, do whatever you want, but like going around in mystery as though you can't just go, that's what it is like an odd adventure. I am in no contest with pi, claiming infinity while measuring closed loops. You know what's funny is it's mathematically impossible to turn, because the curve of a circle is in part measured by pi, which itself is unending. There's no repetition to it, so it never closes off. So you never actually can turn in a circle. It's mathematically impossible. You're breaking the laws of mathematics and physics by doing so, because you're creating the universe all the time, moment to moment, moment to moment. You're creating it, and that's why you can turn. And all of these rules and machinations are invented and created for us to try to make sense of our creation. It's a wrong way around to make sense of what life is and what's happening. And we might find it difficult to get to more advanced manipulations of this universe if we don't just start really confronting the fact that we're spiritual beings, and that mathematics is a flawed tool that should be looked at that way and used that way. So I'm in no contest with pi, claiming infinity, claims to be endless, okay, great, while measuring closed loops. It's infinite, but not. That's because it actually gives you a little peek into the window of a broken universe, of a flawed creation. And how do you keep a flawed creation in place? Well, you forget. You forget. And you say, oh, my dreams? Yeah, my dreams must be that I ate too much sugar before bed. And that's what they are. Yet how does one peer around a corner? And why do mathematicians rush to make a proof that I both can and cannot? And that's what's so funny, is people get really worked up into demonstration and the science of it all. Like, I love science. I think it's great. I love a good iPhone and all the other things that I get. But I'm not going to worship science. And I'm not going to, a scientist concludes something and then I accept it. Ever, never, never, under any circumstances, ever do that. Because it's a flawed thing, which is fine. Lots of things are flawed. All the same, the bars draw closed, pulled by my hand or yours, it matters little. And with final briefing, whispered words echoing back to me in blackness, you are not, yet I am. And, from a full responsibility standpoint, I would never assign you or another that final causation of self-invalidation, right? I think you have to accept a statement in order for it to have weight, right? So I would say, it doesn't matter who it was saying it. I mean, it does, because if you want freedom, then it's you. And if you don't, then it's someone else. You can assign cause elsewhere. You can assign it to science or COVID or politicians or math. You can assign it elsewhere. And that is just more jail time until you go, it's me. So that's the message.